Welcome to the bold analysis. Let me take another chance to say pole sana to the family of the late IBC chairman Wafula Chebukati. Judgment is to God. Of course, we had to withdraw any analysis related to Chebukati's demise after very good advisory from very senior members of this channel. But then today I paid attention to the speeches, and there is something that Natembea spoke about, and the fact that there was an attempt, the state actually took over the program, but when it was organized on Team Nairobi and the Team Kitale, they were really careful, because they knew since the burial is happening in Trans Nzoia, it would have been an opportunity for Natembea to speak outright about what he feels or thinks about the Western unity. And I honestly listened to the presentation by Natembea. And when you keenly listen to Natembea and the way he packaged his information when he was advising the president about this issue of ID vetting, he was very harmless and he was very intentional. In fact, he looked very genuine about his advisory to the president. But to my surprise, when William Ruto was responding, I tend to see the response was not what is right. So why did Ruto have to lose his temper just because of what Natembea said? But let's listen to Natembea first.
Thirdly, Your Excellency, kulikuwa na hii maneno ya kutoa vetting ya vitambulisho. Let me, I'm humbly requesting you, sir, with total humility, that instead of removing vetting, we can revisit it and streamline it. Tuhakikishe kwamba wale wazee ambao wanakaa katika hizo kamati wanakuwa vetted vizuri, wanalipwa mshahara, maana walipi mshahara. Hata kama kuna mshahara inachelewa sana, alafu wanaleta ukora kidogo, ili watu wetu wa Kenya wapate vitambulisho. Sababu ya vetting haizuii wa Kenya kupata vitambulisho, inazuia wageni kupata vitambulisho. Na Your Excellency, hiki tumesaidia hivi. Kwa sasa ukienda kule Northeastern utapata kuna sporadic acts of terrorism. Unapata watu wameweka an IED kwa barabara, lori kikuja na kanyaga na lipuka. There are not very many. Those guys are confined there because of thorough vetting. Hawezi kuingia kwa Kenya bila vitambulisho, walikatazwa, wanafinywa, so wanazunguka hapo, wanakuja, wanagonga na kurudi. Ilifika mahali hawa jamaa walikuja huku Sicily. I was a DC there at that time. Walikuwa wanapiga vilipuzi every day inalipuka. Mpaka ikafika mahali serikali ikaunda National Counter Terrorism Center, ikaunda Interreligious Council, na viongozi wote hata Waislamu wa Somali wakaamua kukashifu hii kitu. Sasa wakati hawa jamaa walishindwa kukuja, wakatafuta mbinu nyingine ya kuradicalize vijana wetu. Maana wakienda Somalia wakirudi wako na vitambulisho, wanapenda kwa njia rahisi. Kafika mali kama kuna explosion ya bomb, mwenye amepiga ni Mjaluo, ni Mjikuyu, ni Mluya sana. Hata huko Somalia they were not participating in these things because it was easier kuradicalize mtu na umlete. For now, hao jamaa wakipata ID zetu, atakuja na ID because it's not assembled, inakuja kama different parts. Anapita pale kwa barabara, akiulizwa anatoa ID, anakuja. Watatoa kule kwa mpaka, watafika huko ndani. The work that our people have done, including kuna MP anaitwa Yusuf Hassan, alipigwa bomu ikavunjika miguu because of terrorism. Your Excellency, where we are, mimi naomba kabisa usaidie hapo, tusirudi huko tena. Hatusemi kwamba Wasomali wasipewe kitambulisho. Hii mambo ya mipaka yote tunasema our local people within Kenya njie patikana kupata vitambulisho haraka, ili wageni nao wasipate nini vitambulisho. Lakini la muhimu, Your Excellency, baada ile mambo ilifanyika jana, watu kuja pamoja, mimi ningependa sasa focus kwa vijana kidogo, and the first president anaweza kuwapatia ni kutoa pesa ya kulipa ukipata vitambulisho. Hiyo shilingi 300 ikitolewa, hao watu watapata vitambulisho mingi hadi atashinda ile mambo ya kule vetting. Maana kwa sasa hata ukijaribu kupatia vijana kazi tenda, waambie mwende mfungue company. Hapa tuanze wengi unapata wana vitambulisho kwa sababu ya shilingi 300 tu. Hana, it doesn't have. Kama kuna watu ambao wako na poverty ambayo inatembea na wanaiona ni vijana. Hii pia imechangia kwa mambo ya unemployment. Ningependa ni karibu nimalize nikisema kwamba I have a disclaimer here. Mimi nimekuwa nikiongea mambo ya watu wetu pande kukua pamoja. Na kuna watu ambao wanaona hiyo kama ukabila. Sio ukabila. Watu kukuja pamoja vile tumekuja hivi, hiyo sio ukabila. Ukabila ni kupendelea. Unasema huyu ni jamii yangu atapata kitu fulani kwa sababu ya jamii peke yake, sio kitu kingine. That's tribalism. Sisi tunataka jamii yote ya ukoo wa magharibi, na mnajua tuko cosmopolitan. Hakuna mtu ambaye akai magharibi. We suffer the same problems. Ndio mimi nasema tukuje tukae pamoja, tutembee pamoja, so that we are taken seriously. Nyinyi mkiendelea kukaa vile mnakaa hivi, ghafla kama ile ilifanyika jana kati ya rais na former prime minister, nyinyi watu ya Western, kama mtakaa pamoja, mweke kura zenu pamoja, mtakuwa mnaangalilia kwa view sasa. We have to be united so that other leaders, hata kama rais atakuja kuongea na mkoa wa magharibi, anajua nikiongea na huyu nimeongea na mkoa wa magharibi. Bila naongea na Raila anajua nimeongea na jamii nzima. We want to be like that. So hii mambo ya kuwa disorganized lazima ikwishe. We must end it. Na watu yangu nyinyi mnajua hii dunia yetu ni cosmopolitan. Sisi tunaishi vizuri, tunaishi kwa amani, hakuna mtu anapigana na mwingine, na itakaa hivyo.
So when you analyze what the way Natembea is speaking, he's saying, Mr. President, it is not bad, but the vetting is supposed to prevent foreigners from getting into the country. And then he spoke about the unity, the fact that he had a pact with Raila-Natembeya, and it is because of the caliber of Raila. I know something that Natembea didn't want to say here is, William Ruto understands that Raila controls a significant chunk of support base from the Western Belt, both Nyanza, Kisii, and the Luhya side. And so that is why they believe if you have Raila, you have a bigger package. So he said that the president did not really think about putting a Luhya in the picture because he's going through Raila-Natembeya. And true to that word, the truth of the matter here is whatever is happening is just a scheme to mobilize along the ethnic lines. So when William Ruto rose from his seat, in responding to that, instead of tackling the issue, because someone is saying the presentation by Natembea, in my own view, he sounded very calm and very objective on his point. He said, foreigners, it is an avenue. Of course, vetting was there to stop foreigners from getting in the country. And he said anti-terrorism unit was even formed and multi-agency team. From the way Natembea was packaging his information, he was speaking from the point of someone who was part of that decision making. Now, when William Ruto responded, William Ruto was responding very angry. And there is a sense of dodging the context. The context here is, and the things he said, he also said that as you lift ID vetting for some Kenyans, you also need to scrub, also need to remove that 300 bob that people need to pay for the new IDs. But I tend to see that William Ruto was just trying to collect himself, but he was a bit dismissive. And if you listen to his tone, there is a way he got angry. He got angry with Natembea's speech.
of a united, prosperous Kenya that is inclusive, that we must work together in that manner. I am a great believer that Chebukati believed in that kind of a nation. There are others who believe in other things. Believe in tribes, and they want to discuss tribes and how they are going to work with tribes. That is your choice. We believe in a nation called Kenya. And that is why I serve as president the people who voted for me and those who did not vote for me, because they are Kenyans equally. So tutashirikiana namna hiyo. And as a person who believes in equality, equity, and justice, I will never be part of any policy that categorizes Kenyans into different categories. Siwezi, na nilisema wakati nimechaguliwa ya kwamba tutaweka uwiano wa Wakenya, umoja ya Wakenya, usawa katika taifa letu la Kenya. Hatuwezi kuendelea na mambo ambayo inagawanya wananchi katika viwango viwili. Ati kuna Wakenya wanapata vitambulisho kwa hali moja, alafu kuna Wakenya wengine wanapata vitambulisho kwa kiwango kingine. That is unacceptable, it is undemocratic, it is unconstitutional, it is illegal. And we cannot continue with that kind of parochialism. Hatuwezi kusema jamii fulani ni wagaidi. Wagaidi ni wahalifu. Na tumeona katika uhalifu kwamba haina kabila. Unakuta pale katika wahalifu wamepatikana kuna watu wa makabila zote. So I want to tell the people of Kenya that they will never again be discriminated against in the issuance of IDs on the basis of their religion, on the basis of their ethnicity, or on the basis of the region they come from. It is our responsibility as government to make sure that we protect every citizen. And for the last 2.5 years as president, we have made sure that we have secured and protected our nation. We shall continue to do that going forward without compromising any Kenyan and treating Kenyans differently. Mimi nataka niwaulize ndugu zangu watu wa Trans Nzoia. Pale nyuma tulikuwa na mfumo.
And I realized that while he wanted to restrain himself, but there is this attempt of dismissing. And I've always been, in this podcast, we've always been blaming and saying the presidency is too dismissive. Sometimes when a matter is raised, they will either say it is because you belong to the other regime, you are supporting the other regime, or it is not you who is doing it, or because you are losing something in it, or even you're stupid, you don't know. Now this one, what Natembea said is on the matter of, while president uses it, the statement he uses to wipe emotions, so that someone listening in Mandera should know that the president is defending them. But you will realize William Ruto became very angry. And probably I don't know why. Of course, Natembea even spoke about Azimio missing in that event. And Azimio missing in that event is that probably they are not party, they don't accept. Raila-Natembeya did not have full accepting of whatever happened, or even of Ruto presidency. And if there is something that they didn't want to come, is that aspect of, you have a handshake with Raila, but yes, Raila is not coming here. There is something that has not worked out. And you can see the whole ODM battalion, even Sifuda, the Secretary General of ODM party, who comes from that place, who comes from that side of Bungoma, Trans Nzoia. Even Wetangula's brother, I did not see him there. So what exactly happened, and Nani got away with it, is very keen. There is something that annoyed the president, and I want to explain here. Number one, I think the fact that after Natembea spoke, both the speeches from Wetangula and Musalia Mudavadi never condemned or never did a counter on what Natembea said. The last time there was a burial in Bungoma, burial of Moses Wetangula's mother, Natembea made a speech, and it had to take Kimani Ichung'wah to attack Natembea. Today, Kimani Ichung'wah was not in Trans Nzoia, and so it was just the Western leaders. And remember when Kimani Ichung'wah attacked Natembea in Bungoma, we said he was overstepping. He would have left the Western leaders to counter Natembea if they felt so. Now, Natembea was in his home ground. He had actually received the backing, some ovation, some applause when he was pointing out some of those issues. William Ruto got annoyed that after Natembea spoke, not Wetangula, not even Mudavadi, dared to respond to the things he said. Let me tell you, yesterday, Natembea was in Chebukati's residence, and when he was leaving, his convoy was attacked by some goons, and even some 2 police constables got injured in that chaotic fracas. So the tension was already there. Natembea for quite some time has been speaking about the Luhya unity, and I want to believe there is a photo that was trending. There was a photo of Natembea and Wetangula that was trending. So what happened is this. The statements that Natembea made there, he said sometimes people are intimidating to see the presidency, but he spoke. The statements that Natembea made there did not augur well with William Ruto. And he might have thought from my point, Wetangula and Mudavadi wanted to deliver a message to the president, but they actually associated with the statements that Natembea made. You know, the truth of the matter, and this is what is happening. You know, yesterday, Mudavadi never attended that signing agreement in KICC. I think the country was asking, and earlier, he attended the PG in State House. Then he was giving excuses that he didn't attend there. So when the country was asking where is Musalia Mudavadi, something that happened was a bit different, because Mudavadi had to release a statement, and Mudavadi was saying that he represented the president in handing over a bus to some secondary school in Malulu, in Malava, that the president had promised. Number 2, he also spoke about the fact that he represented the president in burial in Bomet, because PS Aurelia Rono's father was also being buried in Bomet, and that is where he was. So how he skipped that event is there. So one thing that made the president very angry is the fact that he did not see he did not do the Western wing throwing their weight behind the pact. I'm telling you, even if you listen to the way Wetangula was talking, he was just like, hey, Nisawa, I know that is the direction we want to take the country. Of course, the president is there. They cannot speak tough. But the way Natembea spoke, Natembea was poking holes into the Raila-Ruto agreement. And that is something that was very clear on how it was. The other issue is the absence of Azimio. That was the first public appearance and a state function, I'm told it was a state burial, that William Ruto was attending after signing a deal with the Raila team. I probably think that they tried to look for any ODM leader. Do you know even Caleb Amisi was not there. The whole ODM, the whole Azimio battalion, even Eugene Wamalwa was not there. So it was an opportunity to sell the broad-based issue. But it was a platform to sell the broad-based issue. But because he knew that it would come under attack, he would have needed Raila's side, probably to make a technical appearance, even if it was Sifuna. And then whoever was to be picked would do some pitch on the essence of that broad-based administration. And that really worked about it. The other issue is William Ruto, when Natembea speaks, Natembea has highly been rumored to be warming up to join Rigathi Gachagua. And I think even in an interview he once said that Gachagua is also a Kenyan. Even if he was to choose, and people have been abusing him, he can still choose Gachagua compared to any other person. So when Natembea spoke, William Ruto saw the camp, the other Gachagua camp, represented in that burial. And remember, this is an event that they're looking at in that context. I love Natembea's speech. I know President did not like the fact that Natembea spoke about the integrity of our election, saying the way after every election we must have these squabbles. And that is why the country needs to forgive Chebukati if those who feel it is against the African culture to condemn the dead. So, it doesn't really happen. In our election, you can never satisfy the parties. You can never satisfy the parties. And I'm telling you, even if it were Raila to be announced the winner, William Ruto would have condemned Chebukati and would not have attended that funeral. It is the nature of our election. It is how our elections are. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my take. But I feel the presidents need to listen. Someone is raising something. You can also, okay, what is he saying? Can I listen to him? It is not too bad to listen. Thank you.